just as we were doing our Instagram Live NBA free agency preview, Kevin Durant had requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Keegan and a new guest of ours were chatting, and we said we need to do an emergency episode. Well, here it is. It's part one of the NBA free agency saga. Cue the intro.
I'm willing to say he's the basement coach of the year.
They're going to get something rolling.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Sports Saga podcast, presented by Al Dias Electric. Brady here with a good friend and loyal supporter of ours, and someone who's going to be making more appearances. We're going to welcome him in as a new contributor to the Sports Saga podcast. Tyler Sumner is with us straight from Dean College. Tyler, thank you so much for being here. It's called Special Edition. We mentioned that before. Kevin Durant, that's the big news right now. And as I share my screen, if you can see it, great. It's Woj's Twitter. Woj just tweeted that Durant requested a trade with the Brooklyn Nets today. All right. We know this. Phoenix and Miami are in contention. Boston and Portland are two teams to watch as well. The Nets are acquiring Royce O'Neal from the Jazz in exchange for a 2023 first-round pick. I'd want to watch the Jazz in these sweepstakes as well. And then Brooklyn is sending Houston or Philadelphia's 2023 first-round pick to Utah. My friend, what do you make of all this?
Well, Brady, you have to think about it this way. Back when we saw that Kyrie wanted out of Brooklyn, and we didn't know that he was going to opt in, we knew KD was going to opt out or request a trade as soon as we heard that Kyrie opted in. And undoubtedly, this makes KD the biggest target on the market.
Oh, no.
And
let's ask.
With that being said, we've seen Durant's name float around in multiple franchises that look to contend for a championship. I mean, you've said Boston, you've said Miami, you've said Portland. But the one team that I want to talk about right now with Durant is Phoenix, because this one really came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So my question back to you, Brady, is what do you make of KD going to Phoenix if this happens?
It makes sense. They need a wing. I mean, and they need another forward. They do. I mean, another star to complement Chris Paul and Devin Booker would be huge. Another defender as well. We know KD is an underrated defender, especially the loss of DeAndre Ayton as well. It doesn't look like he's going to re-sign with the Phoenix Suns. Not to say Kevin Durant would play the center position. I think they'd play more of a two-guard and three-forward type of game with Bridges and Jay Crowder. But if Phoenix is to have the money, and it looks like they will have the money, I mean, give them the title.
Yeah,
if
and Brady, I
this is
hate
to
to cut
happen,
you off here, but
give
we have
them
a Woj bomb.
Oh, we got to
officially completing trade with Hawks today. The Spurs are expected to waive forward Danilo Gallinari, sources tell ESPN. As a free agent, Gallinari will be able to choose among contenders in both conferences.
Yes, I heard about that. I heard that was likely to happen, and I heard the Boston Celtics are expected to be in the running, as they should be. It's a 3-point.
But back to what you were saying about Durant.
Yes.
It makes sense, him going to Phoenix, but if you think about KD, I don't see him fitting well with that organization.
Why?
Number one is because of Chris Paul. We've known that KD and Chris Paul do not like each other. We've known that. If they're going to do a trade, you have to trade Chris Paul to Brooklyn.
Oh.
Because this isn't a free agent signing. This is a trade,
Right.
and you have to give them a big player. So it's either got to be Ayton, Booker, potentially Crowder, or Chris Paul. And in that matter, that's why I don't see KD going to Phoenix until he's maybe a free agent in the next coming years. However, the one we've been talking about all day, let's talk about KD and the Boston Celtics.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Before we talk about today, let's talk about why we think KD is a good fit for the Celtics. Number one, Brady, goes back to 2016. KD wanted to come to Boston, but Golden State just slipped in a tiny offer that they had there before. But now they don't have that because they have too much cap space.
Right.
Boston can. Who realistically would the Warriors trade now for Durant?
If
If they do it, it
KD
has to be Klay.
Let's say KD is to go back to Golden State. I think you'd have to look at Andrew Wiggins, a couple first-round picks,
Or Klay Thompson.
and Jordan Poole.
See, I don't think they want to give up Poole. I think they're better off giving up Klay
And separate the Splash Brothers
and bring KD and Steph back.
and separate the Splash Brothers.
Hey, it's the NBA. Anything can happen.
True.
They separated Kyrie and LeBron.
Yes, they did.
They separated Westbrook and KD.
Yes, they did.
But Boston makes the most logical sense to me because
Oh, of course. I mean, we're talking.
we were doing the
about this.
ESPN NBA trade finder today.
We were
And no matter what package you do, you're going to have to include Derek White in it to get that $15 million salary.
That's big. Like
out
White
of there.
would
That
have
is
to be-
huge.
Right. Now,
It goes back to, do you want to get rid of Tatum or do you want to get rid of
I was
Brown?
going to ask you, Tatum or Brown, who would you trade?
I love both of them,
I do too.
but ultimately I think you have to get rid of Jaylen Brown. And the reason you have to get rid of Jaylen Brown is because of the fact that Tatum is a star. He's in Boston for a while. But with Brown, the disrespect he gets from Celtics fans on its own is absolutely atrocious.
Absolutely.
I don't think Jalen likes that disrespect because in realness, he's probably the reason, a big reason in that matter, that we got to Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Tatum and KD together sounds like peaches and cream. That sounds like it would work well because Tatum isn't afraid to pass the ball.
Look,
Now,
very good. Good.
my final answer is you have to get rid of Jaylen Brown and Derek White. Throw in a pick or so. Make the offer intriguing for Brooklyn. Because right now, Brooklyn's going to bite at anything they can get at here. Because Brooklyn is one of these franchises where they are scrappy and
Yep.
they're looking for something that they can get and try to deal with it. Now, my question going back to you here, Brady, is Brown or Tatum?
Jason Tatum. Here's why. I already see it. If Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant were to be on the same basketball team,
Right?
one of two things will happen. One, the less likelier option, in my opinion, of them just meshing so well together, no complaints, everything is grand. But in my opinion, the more realistic outcome is drama. of Tatum maybe taking that last shot, and KD feels he shouldn't have. And then they go back and forth. And eventually one of them wants out. And the whole team's a mess. And then Jaylen Brown would be gone. I don't see them meshing well together because their egos and their attitudes and their playing styles are all very, very similar. And I think the first person when you think of who came up more clutch for the Celtics this postseason,
It was Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
But
do I want
what-
the clutch player and the star player? Or do I want to start? KD's clutch, we know that, but I would feel better about my chances of Jaylen Brown. And maybe this would be better for Jaylen Brown because the Celtics haters on the hate on Jaylen Brown because it's going to prove to them Jaylen, they like Jaylen over Jason.
Now, the other thing too is that it all goes back to salary as well. The Celtics this past offseason just paid Tatum 5 years. I forgot what the numbers were on that contract.
150.
However, if they trade Tatum, that's a more eye-opening deal for Brooklyn. And you've actually changed my mind. I'm saying trade Jason Tatum for Kevin Durant.
Thank you.
Keep Jaylen Brown because, like you were saying, and not to sound like a mockingbird here, but you are right. Their play styles are very similar.
Very similar.
And
they're more
I'm
similar than
here
people
at my
realize.
phone. Another team has joined the fray to get Kevin Durant,
The Portland
and
Tim-
that's the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh,
Now I like this, and here's the reason I like this: Zion's coming back healthy.
oh,
They have
but
the young defender who I think will be a superstar in years to come, Jose Alvarado,
oh, absolutely.
and they have Brandon Ingram.
Let me stop you though. Let me stop you. Let's take a look at this Pelicans roster. Let me load it up real quick. We know
They have depth.
We know
They
there's
have
we,
depth.
we know there's Zion and we know there's Brandon Ingram. What's the one thing those two have in common?
They're forwards.
Okay. Yeah, what's the other
They're
thing?
ball hogs.
They're both due for massive paydays. Looking down the road.
But Brady, am I right or wrong here? There's been a lot of rumors circulating that Zion wants out of New Orleans, excuse me, and that's why he sat out last season. Because he wants to get traded. If he gets traded, you're going to tell me Brooklyn's not going to want the offer of Zion Williamson for Kevin Durant? And then you pay Zion his bag?
Can you imagine if that's the trade? Can you imagine?
Could you imagine KD and Brandon Ingram
their
playing?
minds.
That would be probably the biggest trade to date since the Kyrie Irving to the Celtics trade.
I just look at the starting lineup of CJ McCollum. I think they started Herbert Jones a little bit last year. Devontae Graham, I think they did. Ingram, Williamson, and Valanciunas. Where does KD go on that team? Where does he start? Would he start for Zion? If that is the trade, KD for Zion and I don't know, a couple first round picks.
I'll say they trade Brandon Ingram.
All right. They wouldn't, but good.
Even though, but if they trade Zion, right? We were both too young to remember when the Supersonics were in the league. But if you go back and watch those tapes, KD was playing point guard a lot of the time over there in Seattle. So what if you have KD bring the ball up? That's not a bad thing.
Oh, boy.
But, again, right now with Durant, it's not a matter of where. It's a matter of who and what scenario. The reason I say who is who can afford to put a package together for him.
And who's going to be around?
Because this isn't De'Aaron Fox, this isn't Kevin Knox, this isn't this is Kevin Durant, the greatest player of all time with the ability to score the ball.
The greatest player of all time. Say that again.
My wording is a little bit off, but I'm saying he's the greatest player of all time with the ability to score the ball. Like he's the greatest scorer of all time.
I agree.
And he's a two-time NBA champion, two-time back-to-back finals MVP, one-time league MVP, which I believe he should be a two-time MVP for the league because he got robbed that 1 year.
Yeah.
Now, that alone, that resume alone, Brady, says that you need a big package to afford him.
Yes.
Like you said, we've listed off Boston, we've listed off New Orleans, we've listed off Phoenix. Before we talk about Portland, though, big one here is Miami. They just paid Jimmy Butler a huge contract. But now if they want Durant, what do you see Miami doing here?
If they were to acquire Kevin Durant, they'd have to give up Butler. I almost feel like they'd have to. Because who else would they? I mean, Tyler Hero? PJ Tucker's a free agent. Who would they give up? Who is on that team besides Bam Adebayo? Like, what are you going to do? You get a package Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, and Udonis Haslem? No.
Tyler Hero.
It's going to have to be Hero and, package.
Kyle Lowry.
It would have to be.
But here's the reason I say
it'd have to be like
you go back to
Butler and Lowry.
The Celtics beat the Heat. Bam ripped that Miami jersey in half. That is a sign of blatant disrespect to a franchise.
Absolutely.
And that's why Bam could get traded to Brooklyn.
And Brooklyn center.
But now don't forget who's also been in this rumor to go to Miami too in a trade deal as well. Joel Embiid.
Well, Embiid.
I see Embiid going to Miami more than I see KD, and the reason is because Jimmy Butler has been recruiting Embiid quietly. Now, the other thing here, folks, is the one team that is made most obvious that they want KD, and this is why I think the team might be a lock. And Brady, that's the Portland Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that infamous picture going around here.
Keegan Hamlin's joining us shortly. Go ahead.
Of Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard in a Portland Trailblazers uniform. And as Keegan joins us here, Keegan, I want to ask you, what would you make of KD going to the Portland Trailblazers?
Well, I wouldn't say it'd be a complete shocker because of the post that was posted with the photoshopped image of him and Lillard. So I don't think if it would happen, it would come as a surprise to many. But after losing McCollum, now you would put KD in there. They would still have a chance to. I don't want to say contend for a title, but you could get in that maybe 4 or 5 seed, get that home advantage round one.
This is the roster of the Portland Trailblazers. Who goes?
So automatically here, I'm looking at a lot of people, and right now the biggest one I'm looking at right now is Eric Bledsoe. He's a sharpshooter. He's a 3-point contest winner. Not that matters, but he's been with winning franchises.
Right. I think you'd also have to give up. I know they just got Jeremy Grant.
I don't think you give up Jeremy Grant.
Oh, they might have to.
I think you give up Josh Hart. Because look at Jeremy Grant's money compared to Josh Hart's money. They don't want to give up Jeremy Grant. Now, granted, Jeremy Grant has a lot of money. But I believe that NBA rule is once a player has been traded and signed, you can't trade him again for another 30 days.
That's right.
Josh Hart, though, makes a lot of sense to me because Josh Hart, $12 million, going back to what you said about the Celtics case with Derek White, that's a big contract offer.
Right.
I'll
And
throw
I
in
think
Winslow too. I'll throw in Winslow because he's still
I was
young.
gonna say throw in Justice Winslow.
instead of Winslow, I throw in Chris Dunn.
I'll put Chris Dunn in there too, because is
For
that
Kevin
gonna,
Durant, but Brooklyn would have to give a pick to Portland for that because there's no way you're going to do 4 players for 1 player. However, the Los Angeles Lakers did that for Anthony Davis.
so in order to get KD, right? If we're gonna adjust this, you theoretically you'd probably have to sign Shaden Sharp to his rookie contract and then immediately trade him, because you need to cut out of what's here. There's 4 guys here already. You'd have to cut an additional $25 million. So that's, I don't know. You, the whole team. I got like 8 guys going to Brooklyn. So like I don't.
Or what they could do is a 3-team trade.
Okay. Let me let's
But I don't know necessarily who would do that.
let's put in let's put Miami in, because Victor Oladipo tweeted something today. He tweeted a wolf emoji. I think Victor Oladipo is going to be a Timberwolf. Put Miami in here.
Is Oladipo unrestricted?
No, he's not. I think he's going to get traded. I think. Let's get rid of all these guys. Get you. I'll keep one. I don't even know who I'm keeping in this. Yep. Okay. That'll work. Those guys. For like that'll work right there. I don't even know who that last guy is, but you factor in Miami. There's Miami.
You got to get rid of Bam's contract here. That's Bam and Kyle Lowry automatically are going to go.
Where's Bam going?
Bam's going to go to Brooklyn.
Where's Kyrie going?
Lowry's going to Brooklyn.
Why? What did I say?
Duncan Robinson's going to Portland.
Yeah. I was going to say throw Robinson in there too.
All right. So as we take a look at this madness, how the Miami Heat get absolutely nobody. Actually, no. I'll give them somebody. We'll give them Josh Hart. Josh Hart. No. Dang it. To Miami. Nope. All right. Oh, that's why I hate 3-team trades. Cut 25 million from the Blazers. Cut 45 million from the Nets. Oh my God.
But Keegan, that's not Keegan, excuse me. Brady, let's not focus on that trade thing too much because we're not general managers ourselves. We're podcasters talking about the love of the game and stuff like that. But going back full circle here, KD to who knows where. Do I expect a decision? Do I expect the trade to happen tonight? Absolutely not.
I give him by
I think
9.
it's coming tonight.
By 9 o'clock tonight, Kevin Durant will be on a new basketball team.
Wow. So that's only about.
He's a net for 5. He's a net for 5 more hours. I think it gets done today because.
So do you think Brad Stevens is already on the phone?
If he's not, he should be. He really should be. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he was, but I mean, you have the opportunity to go get Kevin. I don't know his middle name, Durant. How are you not on the phone? Whether you're the Sacramento Kings or the Golden State Warriors, how are you not on the phone right now? Like, I really hope he is. I really, really do. Keegan Hamlet, you just got here. Tatum or Brown to trade to Brooklyn.
To trade. Oh God. I mean, what is he pointing at? What's he showing on the
His
screen?
Twitter.
Oh,
I tweeted at the Celtics. Whoa, there's a new trend right now on Twitter.
Kevin
AD
Durant.
for KD.
AD for KD.
oh God.
Wow. So now the Lakers are in this mix.
AD for KD. Woj hasn't
So-
tweeted in a while. I'm getting very concerned.
So, Keegan, while you were not on the call with us, we've seen a bunch of teams hop in here, and the two that have hopped in now are New Orleans Pelicans
Yep.
and now the Lakers. So, Keegan, this goes back to you. Do we see the two best players of our generation besides Kobe Bryant, who's the greatest of our generation? May he rest in peace. Do we see LeBron and Kevin Durant join forces in LA and build the biggest super team of all time?
Yeah. Well, here's my thing.
Whoa,
Is it
whoa,
gonna be
whoa,
a
whoa,
failure
whoa, whoa,
like
whoa.
last year?
Whoa. Did you just say greatest super team of all time? I know good and well you didn't.
I didn't. Here's why. LeBron James and Kevin Durant,
And
the top two players. And you have Westbrook and KD
Westbrook.
back together?
Westbrook. And you know Anthony Davis would be gone if KD were to be a Laker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you want to be a super
Anthony
team,
Davis would be
they have
gone.
to make the playoffs. They didn't even make the play in.
exactly. What's the hype when Westbrook
I'll go as far as
when
saying
Westbrook
this.
came
If
into
they
LA?
land Durant, if the Lakers trade AD for KD, they are a title contender.
No.
And
You know,
the reason I say that is
Look,
because yes, you trade AD for KD, but you don't trade Westbrook. You sure in hell don't trade LeBron. You have Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant coming back together, and we know how they play together. They're like Captain America and Thor.
You
And
just
then
said,
you add
hey, time out. You
LeBron
just said the
James to
greatest
that?
super team of our generation.
Of our lifetime, that would
Of
be the
all
most
time.
unstoppable team.
not just
No,
a
of all
generation.
time. Of all time. Who's this? You're gonna say like, oh yeah, the Lakers big four back in 04. And
Oh.
that would be like that if it was Kobe, Shaq, Gary Payton, and Karl Malone. And then two of those guys are on
Besides this
their way
team, right?
out.
I'll say this. The greatest super team of all time is the 96, 97 Bulls.
That's the greatest team ever. Yeah. Well,
But-
yeah.
But you're going to tell me that of our lifetime,
We have 10 minutes left. Good.
you're going to tell me of our lifetime, KD and LeBron James would not be the most unstoppable duo ever.
If you're talking 7 or 8 years ago,
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're changing this minute. We're gonna have this is gonna be part one because I feel like we could go on forever. This is gonna be part one, and then part two will immediately follow this. We'll open a new. It'll be a whole new episode. So we've got 9.5 minutes to wrap up part one, and then we'll get into part two. Continue. Sorry.
So we're going into a whole nother meeting right after this one's over.
Basically, and then we can shift the focus. We have 9 minutes to talk about Kevin Durant. And we're gonna shift the focus. We'll go Bradley Beal. We'll go James Harden. We'll go whatever. Continue. Sorry.
So episode one, folks, as Brady said, is all about Kevin Durant.
Yes, this is Kevin.
This is the Kevin Durant mystery. Now, 80 for KD is interesting, though, because as I was saying before, not just the fact that it would be LeBron and KD together, but you have KD going back into a division where that division will be like the AL East. You literally have the Warriors who just won a title. You have the Lakers. You have the Clippers coming back with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, both fully
Fun
healthy,
guy.
and the newly added John Wall.
John Wall, healthy. He better stay healthy.
And then you just have the Kings. But
Show some love for the Kings.
that
or something.
division, if KD goes to it, oh my God. But as we wrap up this part one, I'm going to go to Brady first and I'll go last after Keegan. Where you said 9 o'clock tonight, KD will be on the new basketball team. Where will Kevin Durant be lacing up his shoes next?
You want the biased or non-biased answer?
Non-biased answer.
Crap.
I know you want to say Celtics,
You know I want to say Celtics, and you
and that
know,
won't be biased. That'll actually be a good basketball
and
opinion.
you know it makes all the sense in the world.
So your answer is
I'll just go with the Boston Celtics.
we got one for the Celtics. Keegan,
The Portland Trailblazers on Saturday afternoon.
I am with Brady here. Kevin Durant will be a Boston Celtics team.
And he's not biased because he's a Broncos fan. All right.
I'm a Cowboys fan. I just had that Peyton
Oh,
Manning
but he's
years
got
ago.
the. Oh my God! You can't
I was a
win.
Peyton Manning
You
fan.
can't win either way. All right. Check out part 2.
The only championships I've seen in my lifetime are the third banner next to the Celtics banner.
Check out part 2. Follow us on TikTok. Follow Tyler on Instagram. I don't know his handle. Keegan, Tyler, Brady. We'll see you.